seat. So take a seat. Everyone's going to stand right. Sorry.
Okay.
So, yep, take a seat. And the basic way it's going to roll is I'm going to introduce the show. I'm going to talk about some great statistics that I got for the show. And then I will lead into introducing the panel.
Okay.
And then I'm going to allow you guys to introduce yourselves.
Okay. So you use my name, should I just use
however you're going to do as an author?
Okay.
Okay. What you present to the public?
Right.
That's what you do.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And then we'll proceed from there. Right. I'll shoot off some questions, just some basic questions about what you're doing, what your project's going to be. Right. And then we'll start talking about the challenges. What challenges that you encounter. Right. Because everybody has a different layer of challenge.
Like the challenges in terms of writing the book itself, or
the whole project, the whole process. Because becoming an author is a whole process, right? So it's not just creating the story and the idea, it's the actual writing it. It's the, okay, where's it going to go after I write it?
Exactly.
It's the time frame. It's what I have to do personally. How my personal life goes into it. So we want to talk about all those things.
Like, for example, I started with an idea, and, I started writing, then I stopped, and then I would start researching and so on.
Right, and that's your process, right? Because everybody didn't go through that same process. But then, okay, so then what's next?
That's right. And then now that I finished that,
what are you doing?
My next project is looking for an editor.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that process.
Right.
In between, we'll take breaks and stuff like that, and how you're able to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Each one of you have water.
You have a water.
Okay.
You go. Don't worry about it. We'll be good. It'll be very conversational. And right now the mics are off, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna catch you in something.
You're getting ready to get in though.
Yep.
Okay, so I got to think about
what is the
process? Well, you're coming up with an idea, letting it marinate, just start writing. Start writing and.
Child, you know what I'm saying. I ain't worried
We're
about
on air in 10. Is that loud enough for you? Is it too loud?
It's good. You talking about the music?
Welcome to Entrepreneur Central. I'm your host, Marjorie Waye, on 1065radio.com. And I am so excited to be with you today. Today we have our authors panel. We've been working on this for probably 2 months in talking about what it means to be an author. What does it mean to get your book written, edited, published, and what are those options? Do I self-publish? Do I go with the publisher? And what does that look like? What does that mean for your business? So today we get to talk about that and talk about, we have guests in the show, and for the next 2 hours, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about being an author. So if you know somebody who wants to write a book or has a story that they want published, they want to create it into a book, they want to make it into something, then you know what? Get them on now. 1065radio.com. It streams on the internet. It's www.1065radio.com. But then also you can get it on your phone or tablet. And if you have an Apple phone, an iPad, an iPhone, you can download the TuneIn app and look up 1065radio.com as the station. Or if you have an Android phone, you can go to the Google Play Store and there's an app for 1065 Radio. So we are really, really excited. It's going to be an exciting 2 hours. Again, if you know somebody who is looking to do their story and get their story published and get things going for their project, today is the day. Now, a couple weeks ago, I talked about your story. And what does that mean? Why is your story important? We go through this life and we have things that happen to us that sometimes great, sometimes bad, sometimes indifferent. But here's the thing. Our stories are not just for us. Our experiences are not just for us. They're actually for us to share. Because when you share that story, there's somebody else that's gone through that. Or that's at the beginning phase of where you went through. Or just doesn't know what to do or is hopeless. And what happens when you write your story? You give somebody else hope that they can get through that particular issue, or they've been afraid to try, and they read your story and now they're inspired to go ahead and move forward in their journey. It the wonderful miracle of writing and sharing your experiences is that it is meant to help somebody else. And it not only lives for that one person you're helping, it actually lives and endures, because now you have a written work, a written art that somebody else can pick up. It could be 1 year from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You can pass it on from generation to generation, because our stories carry forward. It may be a different story than specifically what you've experienced, but it's a story that you can relate to and that can give you inspiration and hope. So that's why we talk about being an author. I mean, and I want to share some statistics. I learned some new information today, which is really cool. So how about, we think that the life or the journey of a bookstore has now faded, right? Nobody goes to bookstores, or so we thought. Well, in fact, the industry of printed books, the first statistic I want to share is who reads printed books in the United States. Well, according to a survey, and it was produced by it's a statistics company that's all they do. They research, author, written word, written material, and how they move and what's the industry. Well, in 2014, the highest ethnic group of readers in the United States was actually African Americans. I was very surprised. I didn't think that, but it was 75% are African Americans, 71% are white or Caucasian Americans, and then 56% of those that were paneled, and it was over 20,000 people that they surveyed, 56% were Hispanics. And I thought that was very inspiring, because if you have a story, at least the people that look like you or walk like you or talk like you, what have you, they're reading. But across the board, this is every ethnic group. They're reading printed word. Now, what about how much money is being made actually in the printed book sales? How much money is being made? Well, that industry has actually had a 4.2% increase in sales since 2012. And according to the statistics that were published by the American Association of American Publishers, the U.S. publishing industry is a $28 billion industry. Now, we all know we had a bad economic downturn and things happened, but since then, the U.S. book and publishing industry is on the rise. So back in 2012, it was about 27 billion. It dropped down about 26 billion, but now it's on the rise to about 28 billion and increasing, which is really good news. But here's the funny part. Which part of the industry is having the greatest amount of the largest growth? It's the children and young adults. So children and young adult fiction books actually in revenue grew 20.9% year over year. And as far as units, 13.5% of children and young adult fiction, that's the increase in units that we've seen. Children and young adult fiction books sells more books than adult fiction books. Although both industries are high, children books and young adults, which is promising, right? So your young people are reading, that's good. But they also like hard copy books, which is why Amazon, they're not the biggest ebook readers. Actually, the biggest ebook readers is 18 to 34. So your adults are reading ebooks, but your kids are actually getting hard copy. They want it in their hands. They want to read it for themselves and have a physical copy, which is really great. So this industry is huge. So if you were thinking, people aren't reading anymore, that's false. People are reading, and people are reading in large numbers. It is a huge multi-billion-dollar industry that you can get in, and your story can fit. There's lots of room, so don't think, well, there's enough saturation in the market of the types of book that you want to write. No, your story is unique to you. So, because of that, I would like to introduce our panel now. So we have a panel of authors of all ages, and we have authors, we have an editor, we have a publisher, and I would like to welcome all of you to Entrepreneur Central. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys have to kind of get close to the microphones. And you want to get close because I want everybody to hear you. All right? And so what I want you to do is we're going to go around our panel table, and I want everybody to introduce yourselves and tell us just briefly about you and your project, what you're doing, what kinds of things are you doing. So we're actually going to start with Xavier. We're going to start with Lori.
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Lalinda Hernandez.
Yeah, go ahead and get closer to the mic.
Good afternoon. My name is Lalinda Hernandez, and I've written a book, and it's called Love Don't Love Nobody. It's an African-American romance novel / suspense, and I've been working on this novel for like the last 10 years off and on.
Awesome, yeah.
So I finally finished it. I'm very excited about that.
Okay, great.
And now I'm just like, now that I finish, I'm looking for an editor.
Okay, so
And
you're
a
an
publisher.
editor, right?
That helps.
You can come on. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Yeah, you can pull the mic too.
Hello. Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, that's good. We can hear you.
Hi, I'm Owerri Marrasha, Washington. I am a writer, editor, and entrepreneur.
Awesome.
I have been writing all my life, and one of my gifts is being able to help other people write their books.
Awesome. Awesome.
I also work with Myrna, who's coming up next with 3G Publishing as her chief editor.
Awesome. You have a gift, because all of us can't do it. Some of us can write, some of us can, create, but all of us cannot edit. So that is a gift.
Awesome. Because I believe everybody has a book inside them.
Okay.
And a lot of people have challenges with putting their words down on paper, and
Yes.
that's where I come in to help them.
I love it. I love it. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Myrna Gale, and I'm the CEO of 3D Publishing. It's a self-publishing company with traditional values. I've been in business for now almost 9 years, and we are continuously growing and helping those who have something to say.
I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Xavier, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Xavier Waye, and I'm the host of Kidpreneur Central.
Okay.
Right.
And what else do you do?
And
Xavier's a little nervous, so we're gonna walk him through this process.
I'm a storyteller and author.
Awesome. Awesome. So welcome all of you all to our authors panel. So I'm gonna give you just to give you a brief rundown of what we're gonna talk about. I really want our audience to understand the journey. It is a journey to write a book. It's a journey to get it published. It's a journey to get it edited. It's a journey. And because we are gifted with, like you said, we're gifted with stories. And those stories are meant to help others, right? So my first question, so we're going to just do roundtable. I want everybody to just be able to answer freely. And, I just want to be an open conversation because I have gotten lots of questions from individuals about being an author. And they want to write a story or they're too afraid, okay? And they think, well, I don't know, just like I talked about in my intro, I don't know if there's a market for what I want to talk about. We've talked about it so much. People have talked about their stories and, they've had, difficult challenges in their lives, but there are other books. Is there room, right? And so that's my first question I'm going to put out to everybody is there room for more stories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with you.
Absolutely. I mean, your story is your story, even if
Okay.
there's just one difference.
And I'm going to
it's
take the
still
music
your
down just a little
story.
bit. Here.
What people fail to realize is that yes, now on the internet, you go and you look for, I want to know something about cars and whatever make that car is, and 10 different manuals come up.
Right.
What you don't realize is that each and every one of us is visual, and the best looking manual is what you're going to get.
That's right. Exactly.
So I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
your cover is your entire sale.
Really?
When
That's
you
good.
walk into a store
Yeah.
and you're looking for a book for a child, isn't color what attracts you?
Definitely.
Isn't the cover? You're not going to get something with a black cover.
Right.
You're not going to get something with an all white cover. You're going to get something that's colorful and bright and
Your
reminds
child.
you of your child
Yeah.
or the child that you're giving the gift to. So to me, our primary thing at our place of business
Sure.
is the cover.
Okay.
And that's the first thing I work with with clients. And then I tell them, I print it out for them and I tell them to stick it to their refrigerator.
Okay.
Because that's their goal and that's where it begins. But everybody has something to say. It doesn't matter. you still have your own demographics.
Right. There's room.
Yeah.
So there's
always
room.
room.
There's room.
always room.
Right.
How many books do we have about cars? How many books do we have about houses? How many magazines do we have about clothes?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, no one has the corner market. The market is open for everybody.
I love that. I love that. And so, Lori, we'll call you Lori. And so, as far as did you ever have that question as far as whether or not there was room for your story as an author?
Sure, I think all authors go through that, feeling of, thinking that their story won't fit.
Right.
My story is an African American romance novel / suspense, and there's hundreds and hundreds of stories. But what I, always remember is that nobody can tell a story, my story, the way I can.
There you go.
And I'm also inspired by other authors who just took the plunge. For example, the author who wrote Harry Potter.
Right.
She started on a napkin, and she believed in her characters.
Right.
And she went to 100 publishers, and everybody, rejected her.
Yeah.
And there was just one that said, this is very unique. So I think that everybody has a story, and I think that there's room for everybody. So I would encourage anybody who's writing a story to just continue
To jump in. Right. Now, I as far as editing on the room question, because everybody doesn't write well. That's just it's the truth. Everybody does not write well. Let me say, we don't write equitably. And some are very technical, and you can't relate, right? So if I'm writing it at an MIT level for a child in 5th grade, it may not, somebody may not pick up. So then how, is there room? Because from the editing side, I would imagine you would, encounter that a lot more.
Well, just to piggyback off of what Myrna and Lori said, there's room. There's room. And what I tell people, I don't worry about markets, demographics. When you have a story to tell, I tell you, just write it. Don't worry about if it's up here or if it's down here, or I'm an adult and a kid is not going to get it, or I'm a kid and other kids are not going to get it. Just write the story.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Just because I tell my clients all the time, once you start writing and catching your rhythm,
Right.
it's going to flow.
Okay.
And then as an editor, I can take that, I can read it, I can catch your voice, and then edit better for you.
Gotcha.
And then once I read your story and I understand it, then I can help you better mold it to fit the audience that you're looking to target.
Gotcha.
But the first thing you have to do is write. Just let it flow. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about,
Okay.
So-and-so's going to get mad at me because, they were in the story, or,
Right.
you can't, you have to write your truth first.
Okay.
You can polish it up later,
Sure.
but just get it out and just write from your own truth.
Okay. That's great advice. That's great advice. So Xavier, I'm gonna ask you, as far as did you have a luxury that I think that the rest of us don't have, in that you have a lot more freedom, so you have many experiences, right, that keep us from afraid of moving forward, right? Clearly. So did you find that you had a challenge when you were creating your story?
No, I had no challenge with writing something.
Okay.
Because that's a talent that I hold on to. And I don't want it to go away, so I just want to keep it in and just keep writing.
Awesome.
Doesn't matter if I make mistakes or anything.
That's right. Did anybody tell you not to write your story or try to stop you from writing your story? I mean, you are on 11, right? So.
Well, I was 10 when I started, and no one said that I couldn't.
Awesome.
Even if they said that I couldn't, I wouldn't stop.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Yes.
I just want to say, as an editor, I tell all of my clients, just like he's a young child, he has no fear. He's not worried about what people are saying. He's not worried about the naysayers, the haters, if you will.
Exactly.
He's just writing.
Right.
And he's diving in, no fear. He's overcoming his challenges, It doesn't even seem like he has any challenges. I mean, he's just made up his mind he's going to do it, and he's doing it. And we as adults can learn from that. Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yes.
And see where you end up.
Right. I so wholeheartedly agree with that. Yes, and give them the freedom. Because I think that's what we lack a lot of times as adults, right? Is that freedom because of our past experiences. Somebody has told us no. Somebody told us we're not good, or we don't have the talent, or something. Whatever words we've heard, or like Harry Potter writer J.K. Rowling, who got turned away, thousands, from every publisher that said, no, this is not. What is this about? So I agree with you. Now we're going to take a quick break because I want to give everybody a chance to kind of transition. We kind of came in here and got together, but we're going to play a song, and then we're going to come back. And I want everybody to get a chance to think about this next question. Okay, when did you start to feel like this was something you could do? When did it start? Right, and then along with that second part of the question, and then I got this question from somebody else. Okay. But along that same line, when you started, did you stop? Was there a stumbling block along the way that said, okay, I started, but because of X, I stalled or halted my journey? Okay? So just think about that question, and we're going to come right back after song. Yeah, I know. I'm all there.
I was just going to looking at his face.
The majority of people suffer their first major heart attack on Monday morning between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Don't like. Jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide.
So society gets wrapped around becoming a part of a machine. Society, instead of becoming a bunch of individuals that are expressing themselves in unique ways, and everybody sort of borrows and shares and sells this and you sell that, and we all sort of figure out how we can contribute in society. We got sidetracked and diverted into these boxes that they call companies and corporations. We got stuffed into these containers. They go cubicles or offices, and we got forced into the system. So our time, instead of it being invested in making pottery or fixing cars or doing something where you have a passion or you have some sort of a connection to it, instead of that, you've sold your life.
I want you guys to
The world is loading his back.
I want you guys to stay with me, right? Because
You're supposed to go to school.
this is about how you think. This is about helping others. I have a whole slew of people that are personal to me, personal friends of mine, and family who want help. They won't. They just
No natural behavior. Everybody's wearing clothes they don't want to wear. Everybody's showing up and doing something they don't want to do.
They're
No
literally
connection to
terrified.
it. That's the
And
problem
so
with our society.
I want to give freedom.
The good little boys and girls who have been
People that I know
walking
that
on the
are
line, hand in hand, following step by step, all the rules in the book, ever since our parents and teachers have been conditioning
That's to be
us.
patting myself on the back.
To be what
She's
we're
a witness.
told.
People come into my office
No
and they
society
leave a
wants
check.
people to go like
Oh,
this.
really? Because I guarantee them
It is
that their
against
book
the
is going to be
on
something they never
society.
met. I just had a woman that
If
she just
people
did the
are
edits on
wise,
for Dare to Be
they cannot
Different.
be explained.
This woman is in her 60s. She
If they
has
are
never
English,
written anything ever.
they cannot be
And she has this
subjugated.
story that she wrote, and
They cannot be
she edited it.
forced.
Our people worked on the cover.
Yeah.
She came in the other day and she said, I
That
can't
you
breathe.
work 8 to whatever the hours a
She
day
said,
plus community.
because we
And then
pray.
you're
I
like,
pray. Even people that
And
I
that's your
help,
life.
I
That's your real
hesitate like
fucking
to,
life.
but I'm gonna ask them in a minute.
Yeah, no,
And before you leave, and they say, I haven't had one no yet, so it works.
Yes. On you
But
by your
I
parents,
tell
the
you
teachers,
that
society, and all
it's
the institutions
amazing
at
that
large.
yes,
They want to
my
keep
niche
you
is this.
mediocre,
I am a
bland,
self-publishing company with
vanilla,
traditional values, which
slow
means that we care.
Right.
We care. You don't give me your check, and then I say to you in 30 days I'll send you your book. I don't do that. So, and she takes she's just so thorough with it. and it's a respect.
Right. And the fact that
For
you
the
take that
person's
journey
work.
with them.
Yes.
That's, I mean, I'm super passionate about it because I think that it's really challenging for people that are terrified. I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean it's funny. God gave me a slogan for my wall in my office, and it says, "Your passion is your purpose."
Yes.
And if people have that desire and that strong pull to write, that's it. And so they're always looking to God. What's my purpose?
Yes. I've shown you time and time and time again.
And people speak. Okay.
Yes. So I have been thinking. Okay. We did transfer. There's a lot.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Oh.
Everybody does.
Everybody does. Yeah. Yeah. Because I can cheer and I can bellow and I express it when I'm doing this as opposed to when I'm writing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because then I have to stop and stall and like, wait a minute, I can't catch up. Hold on, I can't catch up.
Right.
I got a lot going on.
Right.
Yes.
So
That's why we do transcription.
I love that. See? Okay. See, there's so much to share. So that's what I want the show to be about. This show is about sharing to release the freedom to our audience.
Yeah, we just got our first from Jamaica. We got a young lady, a college student who actually took the lead. So I was kind of scared because I'm in Jamaica and you're there.
Yeah.
But she's ecstatic.
That's funny because we have a partner from 106 like radio, and she's in Jamaica, and she wants to write her book.
Oh,
So this is perfect. Yeah,
Wow.
this is perfect.
That's
She was
funny.
asking about the show when she started publicizing the show. She was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect timing because I'm trying to write my story." So this gives her freedom. And I know she was. So this is great. So I just wanted to give you guys the freedom.
Okay.
Okay. See how you feel, and I wanted a diverse panel of different things. People who've done different things as it relates to. I can speak to my story, but I never been in that region. I never knew anybody that wrote, published, did a book. So for me, my
I would just want to add, don't be afraid to add the challenges.
That's it. That's it
Because
writing
a lot of
is
times that's where some people are right at. And they're like, okay, you know what? I'm about to throw my hands up.
That's it.
So that might be their, crossover, their bridge.
exactly. All right, go back home.
enough.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Now, hold that thought, this experience too, because I can definitely relate to what you're saying.
Welcome back to Entrepreneur Central. I'm your host, Marjorie Waye on 1065radio.com. And we are having an amazing conversation, both on air and off, but we're going to bring it back to on air. We want to make sure, one of the things that I just shared with the panel is to be free. We're going to free some people today. We're going to free some people from their anxieties and their fears about writing a book. Or writing their stories. So going back to my question before the break, when did you start? And then along that journey, did you stop? Did you feel halted? And why? And then what kick-started you back into the journey? So anybody who wants to start, what? You said you don't have any challenges, so we'll wait. We'll get you on the next question.
You want to go?
I'll start. Hi, it's Owerri Marrasha. And I'll try not to take up too much time, but I've been writing since I could write. I was one of those kids who loved school. I loved doing papers.
Awesome.
All the way up through high school, I loved doing term papers. I loved writing essays. And when you ask the question about along the way, have you ever stopped? There have been plenty of stops. The first stop I can remember, I was possibly 13, 14, and I always kept a journal. I had a very vivid imagination, and I used to write daily. And my little brothers read my journal. And I was so hurt, I stopped writing because I didn't want them to see, because not only was it full of stories, but it was also a part of my personal journey, things that I was frustrated with or going through. So then, maybe a year or two later, I started journaling again, and I'm in high school, so I'm writing constantly, I'm making up stories. Then again in high school, 9th grade, my English teacher gave me a D on my very first essay. I was devastated. I went home and, I'm crying to my parents, and they're like, take it back to her, ask her exactly, ask her about it, and so I got over that hurdle, but that right then and there, it jolted me.
Right.
Because I love writing, so to have someone like a teacher say it wasn't good, that really just, at that moment, just took me to a low place. So fast forward in college, I'm a freshman in college, and my first English class, freshman year, I get a D on a paper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute now.
Yeah. I think they do that on purpose.
I think so too. I think so too, maybe to see how you're going to react.
Exactly.
I mean, because I went back to the teacher and I had so much to say to her that by the time I finished, she at least brought it up to a B with a few rewrites and everything. But the fact, my first English course in college, and to get a D, again, I'm like, I love writing.
Right, exactly.
An A+ paper.
Yeah, exactly.
So
passion into this.
Exactly.
Writer.
And it's a funny story because I changed my major at least 4 times by sophomore year. And I called home one day, and my mother goes, I wanted to talk to you about something. She goes, you've changed your major 3 or 4 times. She was like, have you ever thought of journalism? And I said, well, what's that?
Right.
And after, getting educated on that, I changed my major, and I've been writing ever since. Again, have there been struggles? Yes. I've had loss in my life. I've had pain in my life that has caused me to take a pause.
Definitely.
Caused me to doubt my gift. I'm human. I'm just like everybody else. Life happens, and sometimes it can bring you to your knees.
Definitely.
But what I tell my writers is, you're not going to be satisfied until you get it out.
Yes.
Exactly.
When you know you have a story, a testimony, a book, when you know it needs to come out, it's going to bother you until it's out.
Absolutely.
I say I'm an author. I'm not a published author, but I've been writing all my life.
Right.
So I have books, I have screenplays, I have plays.
Yes.
I have it all. But what I found when I became an editor is that I really enjoy helping other people get their story out. I enjoy turning what they think is a hot mess on paper
Right.
into a published book. So yes, we're human. We go through life just like everybody else.
Right.
So our journey is pretty much the same as everybody else. We have our highs, we have our lows, but the thing is we keep writing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, this is Lori, and I am just sitting here so full because I heard Xavier's story and I heard Lori's story, and it mirrors like my own experience. I often tell people that my writing journey began ever since, I guess, like kindergarten. I was always the one that wanted to write and wanted to get up and tell a story,
Right.
and always questioning the story that was told. And I knew from a young age that I was born to be a writer. I didn't know, at that young age, like what all that writing entails, but I just knew that I was just drawn to it. And as I got older, I had teachers, some would discourage me, and others would be blown away.
Right.
But I was always that child that, loved English, loved any kind of writing assignments. And when I became like in high school, I knew that I wanted to go into journalism, and I did that. And throughout life, I've had some ups and downs. And when I went into journalism, it was a different kind of writing. Because while I thought that I was a good English writer, when I got into journalism class, like you said, I got a D, and I'm saying, what happened?
Right.
But it was a different form of writing, and I had to get used to it. And I was so passionate about it, I kept going back. And I think like that first year, I just cried because I didn't think that I could do it.
Right, exactly.
And so basically, like in my life and all, I have stopped and started like different forms of writing. But I would say like probably like in my 30s, I really started listening to my other gift, which was I was always like more of a fiction writer.
Sure. Okay.
And I've always had like little stories, and from those stories I turned them into mini books.
Sure.
And so on and so forth. So right now, you know, I feel like my life has come like full circle, and I'm back and doing what I love. And I heard Tyler Perry say something recently. He said a writer always has like a movie, you know, a movie going through their head. And, you know, they know the characters, they know the scenes, they know the situation. But it's taking what's in your head and putting it down on paper. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to believe in your craft and just keep writing.
I love that. I love that. That's absolutely right. By the way, you're listening to Entrepreneur Central on 1065radio.com, and we're talking. We have an authors panel talking about what it takes. And so, Myrna, I'm gonna ask you, what along the way, you know, when did you know, and what were the challenges?
Well, I really never thought I was truly a writer. I wrote well. I mean, I would do all the letters and stuff for my family, and I had a legal mind. I wanted to be a lawyer, and so I worked for 30 years in the legal environment, and you know, write briefs and stuff like that. So that's basic. That's we just don't.
Which is not getting it right. Right.
But then I decided to, because people would always come to me constantly for questions, especially family. And so I got this revelation one day. You know, I said, God, no, you can't be talking to me.
Right.
Because he said, you need to write a book. You need to write everything that you know in a book. And call it legal remedies. Because I'm not giving advice. These are just remedies that you can embrace that can take you to the next level. Because everybody that I have ever met is afraid of the law.
Yes.
Whether they're on the good side or the bad side of it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I wrote a book. It's called Legal Remedies. I wrote it in layman's terms.
Okay.
That your son could probably read it, go through it, and tell you exactly what to do.
Awesome.
And that was, you know, I did that on purpose.
Okay.
Because I had my grandson assisting me at 11.
Awesome.
He was at 11 at the time. And when he couldn't understand, I had to fix.
Okay, yeah.
And the book is, you know, it's pretty big research book, about 500 pages. And after I did that, and I started the circuit, it was kind of interesting because as authors, we all want the world to read our stuff.
Definitely.
And so I started doing television. You know, I was on Fox 5, on CNN, and I was going. And I had a frightening experience this summer. I had somebody call, because I was on a criminal show. Okay. Talk radio.
Okay.
It was in Atlanta. And somebody called my office where I worked, and he was very angry because he said that his wife used my book to get divorced.
Oh no!
And he was really very angry. He said some really, really horrible things that at that point they had to screen my calls before I got them. But then I was working late one night, and I saw a man coming out of a stairwell. And it's a long building. It's a huge hallway. And as I was walking towards him, he said, "Oh, I know you." Well, it literally frightened me. I was just like stiff, and I just looked at him and I said, "Oh, you do?" It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm alone on the floor, and I said, "Oh, you do?" And he said, "I saw you yesterday. You were on PBS, and when I just bought a brand new TV, and when I pulled it up, this smart woman was on there, and it was you." And I was like, "Oh my God."
You froze it in your throat.
Oh, thank you. You know, but it halted it for me.
Sure.
Because I then recognized the fear of entertainers.
Yes.
I recognized when people were recognizing me on the street, I did put the attention.
Yes.
And so it wasn't something that I thought I even had in me.
Of course. Had experience.
Yeah. So but it halted me. It stopped. And then I got together with a sister that the Lord has blessed me with. Her name is Myrna Gale. A few years later, and her daughter had a vision, and I said to her, "Wow, we should write this." And then I prayed about it, and I just wanted to hear that, and the Lord said, "Yeah, I want all my children to tell their stories." But what I didn't understand, we started with just children, but He meant all His children.
Absolutely, yes.
And so we took that route, and we wanted it to be very, very special. And actually, Owerri was my first editor, and I was just clinging on for dear life for her. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. I don't know what I've done, Lord.
Believe me.
Right.
But she's amazing at
Yeah.
what she does. I mean, me and Renee would just look at something that somebody sent us, like this one gentleman that sent us 139 pages handwritten. Hallelujah. Handwritten.
Okay.
But people pay for that. He had a budget. He said, I don't care. He wasn't, a degreed individual, but he had written a story that was worth telling as far as he was concerned.
Sure.
So we had somebody type it, and she had to do it. Or Rory had to edit it.
Right.
It took her a while because it was everywhere.
Right.
But it's a book that's going to create people.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's what we do for authors.
Right.
That's what we do for anybody that's even thinking about writing something. Like people will say, well, how many pages does my book have to be? I said, well, if you have the beginning and what you think is the end, and if the end is on page 18, we'll make it a children's book.
There you go. Love it.
What? People can relate. They can read those books to their children, and they enjoy it.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
it's nothing should stop.
I love that.
If the passion is there,
Yeah.
we can feel the purpose.
I think one of the things, in life as an adult, I know for me, I started writing a book and I thought, okay, my first thought was, I want everybody to read it, right? Everybody's going to read this book, right? Because it's amazing. It gives you insight. It's great, all of those things. And not that I think it's not great. It's wonderful. But as I wrote it, I learned more about me.
Exactly.
Then, and as I, published it, and I learned all the processes of what that means and what that takes, and I went through the whole thing by myself. I literally went and learned, okay, well, you're supposed to publish it, this is how you get it on, Amazon, here's the form you got to fill out, here, if I want to do audiobook, if I want to do all this, I had to learn all those pieces, right? And so I had to learn about ISBNs. I didn't even know how to get one of those, what that cost, what that meant. And so I went through the whole process, then I wrote it, and my mom edited it. She's been a technical writer in the government space for a long time. And so she edited it, and it was beautiful. It was, everything was right. And then I put it out. Well, it didn't go anywhere, right? The one thing I didn't learn was how to market a book, right?
Yes.
That's a whole
Yes.
nother industry.
Yes.
That's a whole nother
Yes.
talent. And so, but the one thing I can say that I was so proud of was going through the process and figuring out, and then at that point when it's written, I'm like, okay, I learned a lot about me, I learned about this process. And funny enough, although I wanted to sell the book, I wasn't stalted by it. It didn't, stop me. It didn't,
Right.
I didn't feel like, okay, well, I haven't succeeded, or the Lord didn't do His work through me. It was just, okay, you know what? That the time may have been for me to write it and learn all the things I learned, and not necessarily to market. Doesn't mean that it's not going to market. It just, this is just at that time, and that's okay. And so for me, I stopped writing for me at that point in time, not because I felt like I couldn't, but more in that the Lord didn't give me another message to write more for me. And then, my son comes and he has this amazing story that we're just sitting there. The day he told us about this story, me and my son were in the car, and he's telling us about this story about Egypt. I'm like, okay. Where'd you get this story from? I mean, because it seemed so real, first of all. It seemed logical, right? He had put all the pieces together of how this would work. And then I was like, okay, wait a minute. Where'd this come from? Yeah, and not that I was trying to, say he couldn't have come up with a story, but more in line with, hey, this is really, really good. It's a really good story. And so that leads me to my next question, actually, in that, in Xavier, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about your book, but I want to talk about your parents or your support system, right? And how involved and necessary your support system is to you on this journey. Because books aren't written overnight, right? Books are not written overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. But your support system.
It's interesting because when I did Legal Remedies, my family was looking at me kind of well, how you gonna write a book? I mean, you've never written a book before. I said there's a first time for everything, and I'm legal savvy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the law.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was funny because the people that I interviewed to do the book, one of them being Justice Leah Sears.
Oh, okay.
They all did a chapter in the book.
Mm-hmm.
The commissioner at the time was Oxendine,
yes.
and
the commissioner of the tax department, and just all these people were involved. And so when I started doing the book, I was like, okay, we've got to write this about what issues are basic in my family, especially. They were terrible. They were like, what do we have to go back and go through all of that for? Because I said, I want to go over the things that I've helped you with so that it can be real. I can really pour myself into this. Oh, I said, oh, but you don't have a problem calling.
Right.
So I'm trying to give you a book so you don't call me no more.
Right, exactly.
But it's just like, and it's really good for families to come around writers. But I need to really say this to the writers that are listening. Do not allow your family to discourage you. Because I am here to tell you that there are things that you may say in your writings that the ones that know it's true, even though you don't put their names in the book, will be offended. And guess what? It's all good. Next.
There you go. There we go.
You know,
yeah.
I cannot.
That's
my
real.
truth is going to cause offense to someone someday.
Sure, of course.
But it's okay. Get over it. I had to put it out there so I can keep moving.
Definitely.
And if it stagnates you as the one that's reading the book and saying, oh my God, I think they're talking about me, let that be a growth for you too.
Exactly.
Yes. So,
exactly.
family is so great to have a backup. But don't let them discourage you. Call us if they discourage you.
That's right.
Because I tell you, when you were talking about the marketing,
Yes.
when somebody walks into my office, they leave with a list of things that I need them to do before their book hits press.
There you go.
Okay? And they're like, okay, is this for free or is this part of my charm? I said, no, this is for free. If my people come in, have your checkbook ready.
Exactly.
I'm trying to tell you what you need to do on your own, and it gets frustrating.
Yes.
If you want us to do it, we can take care of it. That's not a problem.
Right.
But I showed them how to do it. I'm not afraid to share that.
Right. It only benefits you.
Yes.
The more you share, the more you get. The more you give, the more it comes back to you. It's a law of benevolence. If you give, it will come back to you tenfold, right? Press down, shake together, run it over, all that.
That's
right.
That's
So
right.
the law of benevolence says, if you give it, then I will give you. Have now made room for me to give you more.
That's right.
So I'm a huge proponent in the law of benevolence. Absolutely. So as far as your support system, how the impact, because like you said, it could be a great thing, right? There's support systems that you're like, this is what gave me the motivation to put forward, and they helped me, they were there for me. Then there's that system of folk that you may not need or may not want their voices in your head as you're writing your project, because the Lord gave it to you. He didn't give it to somebody else.
First and foremost, my support system comes from other writers, because other writers get other writers.
Okay.
and they encourage you.
Sure.
They're supporting your characters and your circumstances and situations. While we love our families, I would not always, encourage like reading your manuscript to your family, because sometimes they just don't get it.
Right.
And then they don't know how to tell you. And then sometimes, like I don't know. It's very personal. Writing is very personal. So what I would suggest is get around other people who are writing. Get involved with a support group. Like-minded people, and get that feedback that you need, and that kind of like encouragement to go forward.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Or
Can people see us?
yes.
Because I just got a text from Mary.
Yes.
Who said, I see you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary. That's no pressure. That's no pressure at all.
You guys are doing great though.
Oh my God, that was the biggest mistake.
My support system, it's funny when you talk about family. I don't even know if people in my family know that I write as much as I do. My immediate family, like my brothers, my father, and my mother who's passed now, they all knew I was writers. But extended family, I don't think they know that I am a writer in the way that I am. My mother was one of my biggest supporters in everything that I did. But when I became an adult, she really poured into me, and she's probably one of the few people I let read my stuff.
Right.
And she would just love on it, and you know how mamas are.
Yeah.
She would just love on it, but it was so cute when she would come back and say, I would change just one thing. It's fabulous. It's great. Just one thing. And it wouldn't be anything big, you know. It would just be that, you know, does she have to be that nasty? Does he have to say that? You know, but my support system since becoming an adult has been what I now describe as my tribe. The women that God has placed in my life, who are also authors and writers themselves, but who have poured into me and supported my gift, and just, you know, would read my stuff and just, you know, just show so much love and support for anything that I've done. So my support system now is my, you know, my immediate family, but the tribe of women that God has raised up for me. I like to say He raised them up for me.
Definitely.
They get me, they support me, they challenge me, they push me to work harder and to do better. So that support system, and they are like my family. So that is my support system.
I love it. I love it. Xavier, for you, how do you feel as far as your support system for your, you know, your love, your, you know, story, creating stories?
Well, I feel like everyone's supporting me, everyone's being close to me and helping me with my story. Like my dad, sometimes he would well, he did read the story that I created, The Adventure of Fire Spy, and he liked it, just like my mom.
Wonder who that is. So you feel support. You feel support. Do you feel? Have you had anybody? Have you felt, as you know, where you're at? Anybody not support you so much, or say, you know what, maybe you need to think of something else?
Well, some of my friends at school don't support me that much.
Okay. So your peers.
Yes.
Okay.
But my teachers, they really support me. Like Miss Brewer, she's my reading and writing teacher. Sometimes she would give me like D's and F's or C. But sometimes I would learn from that and work with that.
Great. Oh, that's awesome.
Great.
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
Well,
And in my social studies and science and health teacher, she would help me out with whenever I'm not feeling good, when no one's supporting me,
Encouraging you.
Right.
during the day
right.
when I'm not at home.
Right.
She would,
Yeah.
both of my social studies teachers would help me out and make me feel like I'm at the house and be myself.
I love
Wonderful.
it. I love it. Oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. So I'm so glad that you feel supported, right? Because that's what one of the things I think as you know, as adults, right? We can pinpoint times. I have to say I've been very lucky, you know, in that my mom has been an incredible support system to me across my entire life, of everything that I've done and in every level of journey. But like you said, one thing she's really good about, she's very honest. Almost too much. But she's very honest about what she thinks and what she feels. But that also gives me an opportunity to say, okay, you know what? I know what I'm getting with her. And so if she says something doesn't feel right, or she doesn't understand something, or she doesn't get something about what I've written or what I've done, okay, then I need to go and revisit it and look at it. And it gives me a chance, like you said, to challenge me to do better and to be better. You know, when I wrote the book, she's like, okay, no, I don't understand none of this. I had to go get a dictionary for the words that you mentioned because I didn't understand it. You're not writing it at a level where you want readers to understand. And so you know, and I had to take back the whole, I mean, she took the whole chapter. She read like the whole chapter. And I was like, okay, let me figure this out. And I had to rewrite it in a way that would make sense and that somebody could actually digest the information. So I'm as far as support center system, that's incredible to me. But I agree with you. You can't take, you know, some of those people they try to push away. You know, they love you. It's not that they don't love you. It's just that they don't understand. And that's because they didn't get the word of this particular gift of whatever you're writing, whatever the project is. And so in that, so we're coming up to the end of this hour. These 2 hours go by really, really, really fast, by the way. So we're at 12:52, and we're going to take another break. But I want to ask a question about your stories, right? What kinds of stories are you writing? Because I want to get more into you all. What are you guys working on? What kind of projects are you working on? And the reason why is because I think other people relate to the fact that we said that there's room for their stories. So what types of things are we working on in order to then push forward to the next level? And that encourages others. So that's what, again, what this is all about. So we're going to go kind of one by one and talk about your stories and the kinds of things that you're putting out. The kinds of things that you're putting out and that you're talking about. What are we talking about in our stories? And then also, by the end of the show, we're actually going to talk about things that you guys have available and people can buy. We want to know how they can contact you, how can they now connect, because they've heard your subject matter experts, right? So they know, okay, they know what you're talking about. That's who I need to talk to and I need to connect with. And whether it's Facebook or whether it's come to your office or what have you, we want to connect and make sure that we connect with them, okay? So that's what we're going to do. In just a minute, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to take another quick break, and we will come back. It won't be a song this time. I said song last time. We're going to motivate some people. We'll be right back.
You are locked into the best radio, soca, hip-hop.
Miriam.
Yeah, so you're live on Facebook Live, by the way.
Are we still there?
Huh? Well, when she takes a break.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But we're still
text
recording.
Mary back and say no thanks.
We're still recording.
We are not appreciative
Oh,
of
it's
what
still
you
on.
just
It's still
did.
on.
Oh my
It's still
God.
on. No, you're good.
It's just not live.
It's live?
It's not live right now,
Oh, okay.
but we're still recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna move you in that area, okay?
Your life will be hard. You do what is hard.
This is great. This is very helpful. Very helpful.
People that are
and I
hungry
really want to encourage people to know,
uncomfortable.
you know, how do I connect
Hungry,
with
have a vision of themselves when they leave
connect
here.
the connection,
leaving
right?
this
You know,
not live.
like we're visual and auditory. I think most of us learn definitely visual with auditory as well. But if they
How do
can
you get to
hear,
that next level?
I hear where I learn that dominant because
You
they're the
cannot
ones that's going to bring my story to life. It can't be
Domination,
everybody.
not
Everybody's not
competition.
meant to bring your story to
Anybody
life.
can do
Everybody's
this.
not fine.
Anybody can
And
do
there are
this.
some
This is
people
not
that may
about a
come to
college
you like,
degree. This is
okay,
about massive amounts of action.
you may need to go. And because that's the truth. God
If you're not sure of your own values, your own goals, and what you
And that ain't
want, the
everybody.
world
But you know what's
will
interesting?
never get close of what you
You have
want,
it?
your value for your
Oh,
goals.
And she
I have clients.
has written, no, they have done and modified stuff. She's had to edit the work of a so-called English major. He had a MBA. Is it MBA? A PhD pastor who wrote that we laughed so much during the entire edit process that we cried. We were like, stop it. It was so bad.
Right.
But I said, don't worry. We're gonna have to leave this like this because he's saying he don't want that slang up out of there. So we left it. Oh my God. He was terrible. I gotta wait. But this is what happened. He paid a lot of money. Okay, a lot of money. But guess what?
It would be on their
His
Facebook,
wife,
right? Your
after
Facebook page,
No,
right?
she was saying mine, but this is so you can reach me on Facebook at the Fed on at www.what was
yes.
how did they get in touch with me?
Just tell them I'm Lalinda Hernandez on Facebook.
Facebook.
Okay.
So they'll already know the Facebook.
What happened? No, I'm just telling you, like, trying to tell you how to
And
reach me.
don't forget to mention your job.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember it?
Okay. Lalinda
Is
knows.
this still recording when it's sleeping? Is it still recording when it's sleep?
Oh my God, sleep, just tap and sleep.
I bought this for you. I pushed it open, stuck on here, and she said, anybody
Oh,
home?
they don't. They go to
I
sleep.
said, no, mama. Nobody
Interesting. It usually doesn't sleep when it's recording.
If you want to think bad enough to go out,
I know that feeling
the
so
work
bad.
day
Very
and night,
good.
you give up your time, your peace,
So what are we gonna talk
and your sleep.
Your story. Talk about your project. Talk about your project.
Life's
Where's Charlotte
easier, worthless without it. And if you either sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, and lose all your terror on the opposition for it, and if you're simply onto that thing that you want,
We're about to be that soon.
strengthen tenacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. The help of God.
Oh my God! So did she see me run
Oh
out
my
of the
God, did
studio?
I scratch my nose? Did I scratch my mouth?
You just needed to tell us we were on air. That is just not.
That's my purse.
You know, you do that on purpose, don't you?
She started recording me and I didn't know. When we started the show. All right, we're coming into the new hour. All right.
We're live.
All right, welcome back to Entrepreneur Central, 1065radio.com. I'm your host, Marjorie Waye, coming to you live every Wednesday from 12 to 2, and we are just about to cross over into our next hour. Again, I know that as you've been listening to this authors panel and the amazing story of these individuals, you want other people to join in. So, two things. One, you want to either go to 1065radio.com. It is streaming right now. You can go to TuneIn. If you're on an Apple phone, download the TuneIn app and look for 1065 Radio. Or you can, if you have an Android phone, go to the Google Play Store and look for the 1065 Radio app. So you want to make sure they get involved, because as we go into this next hour, we're going to talk about not only their stories. So we're going to go into this hour talking about their stories, but we're also going to talk about how can you connect with these awesome people, these authors, editors, publishers. How can you connect with them? Because here's the thing. If you have a story and you've been holding back and wondering, how do I do this? I don't know the process. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get my story out there. And you have just been wondering, okay, what do I do? Then you need to connect with some people that, like we said before, like-minded, that know what they're doing. They've been down the journey before. Don't take this journey alone. Trust on this one. For somebody who has, don't take it alone, because you don't have to. There are people that I didn't know at the time I was doing my project, but now I've been blessed. This has been an absolute blessing, just even today. So we're going to jump right back into our panel, and as we make the announcement, we're also on Facebook Live, so you can see us too. And so I think we're connected on mine, yours. Okay, so you can connect to my Facebook. It's Marjorie Waye, and you can actually see us on Facebook Live as well. So now we're all aware, as we've been on for an hour, that we everybody can see it better. See, now we're all comfortable.
But at this point,
We do this all the time.
But you guys have been doing great. Awesome. Trust me on this one. So we're going to get into, I want to actually spend this time talking about your stories. Let's start with your stories. And then Xavier, I'm going to start with you. We're going to talk about your project. Talk about your project briefly. We're not going to talk about our project for the next hour, but we're going to talk about it briefly. And talk about what project you're working on. Because the other thing is that when people can see themselves in what you're doing, it encourages and motivates them to do their own stories. So, Xavier, you're writing a book.
Right.
Okay. And tell us about, what's the name of your book?
The Adventures of Fireside.
Okay, so The Adventures of Fireside. And what is The Adventures? We tapped on it a little bit, but what's The Adventures of Fireside about?
It's about an Egyptian boy that saves his adopted sister, which is actually the daughter of King Tut, from getting killed by the high priest of Egypt.
Okay, well, okay. So, so I thought, just for me, King Tut didn't have any kids, or he had kids that died, right? Because he's married to his sister.
Yeah.
That kind of happens with that
The
situation.
culture.
Right. And so what? So how? Where does child come from?
Well, there's a whole different story that goes along with this.
Okay.
With this whole situation.
Okay. So are you going to tell us briefly?
Yeah.
Again, briefly. Yeah. Briefly.
Okay, so what happened was is that the reason why he didn't have the kids that died from his sister, because they were brother and sister, they couldn't have that.
Right. Okay.
They couldn't have.
Okay. It's called incest, but yeah, that affects kids. Okay. Go ahead.
And then he met this girl from Thebes, and he fell in love with her. Then had this girl named Raven, which is about to be the future queen of Egypt.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so then she's the daughter of King Tut.
She is daughter of King Tut.
So where does the brother come in?
Well, so what happened was that the midwife,
Okay.
which was the boy's mother, the midwife, took Raven in,
Oh.
and then had her as her own.
Oh, raised her as her own child. She had a boy already.
Yeah, she already had the boy, but the priests were coming after Raven.
Okay.
Then First guy's mother had a child, then died with birth.
At birth.
And so as a decoy, they used the dead baby, and they switched Raven as a baby and the dead one. They switched places.
Gotcha. So that
So
to
then
throw
they
them off.
can be. So then they can be saved.
Gotcha. Okay. Apparently somebody figures it out though.
Yes.
Okay. That's cool. That's great. Great.
5 years.
Okay.
Then Tut decides to want her back.
Oh, okay.
Her back.
And that's the journey.
Yes, and that's how this whole story comes together. And the reason why I like creating the stories is that because they're all fun. Because let's be honest, some people are not impressed with Dr. Seuss.
Let's be honest.
Definitely not in this era.
That's it.
But people want them with more action, more juicy details.
Yes. Great point.
I love it. I love it.
More people. It's not rhyming.
Right.
Okay.
Love
I
it.
want him to be more longer.
Yeah. Well, great. That is great. Good job, Xavier. Great job. Awesome. So you always say something about kids being entrepreneurs and doing that.
Yeah.
What is it?
But what I say is that no one's too young or too old to create their own stories or to start their own business.
Very good. Good job. Good job. All right. So
Three of them are not too young or too old to start their own business and be writers or
good job. All right. Yeah. Good. Look at you.
I'm impressed here.
He's gonna take my job real soon.
He's a hard actor.
and never be afraid. Other people think of you or say that you can't do it.
All right. Okay. You know what? All right. I'm gonna come off the mic when I go on vacation. You got this, right? You got this. All right. Are you gonna pass the mic? You get that somebody else?
quick. I just have to say something to Aurora.
Well, you go next.
Aurora, yesterday we were having a conversation, and it's just so unbelievable that this child has confirmed what she said.
Yes.
She had said that she received a word that was telling her that we had to think like children so that we can no longer have fear. So I thank you, Xavier, because you have left yourself open to the things that God wants to share with you, so you can share with us people that think we know everything.
Everything. To feel free.
Yes.
To express their feelings and how they started, and how you can end it, and how you can because everyone's life is a story. Like
it is.
I love it. Great job.
Tut's story is his life. Knowing the basics of his life. Because what happened was that his father and the boys of his, the male people in his family tree, they all died young. King Tut died at the age of 19. And Akhenaten died at the age of 25. And father before Akhenaten died
in his 30s.
They all die in different
What they got?
like a few 10 years or so.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good.
Xavier, do you need an editor?
I think I want Xavier to be the lead in our creative writing program that we do.
Oh, awesome.
And I also know this awesome publisher as well. So we got your back. Okay?
We got your back, Xavier. Love it.
You are able to reach me.
How can people get it?
Okay, you need to switch places. I'm coming out of the chair.
Well, the address is 2433.
Well, no, you're not going to. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We don't want to share that.
We have to create you a website where people
Yes.
can reach you. We don't want, them showing up on your front lawn.
No. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that's a hard act to follow.
Yes, it is.
It is. But we do want to hear the other stories that are taking place. So, wow. Okay. Yeah. Next time I'm gonna start.
Okay. Well, I'm just excited. This has been such an exciting journey for me, and within the last year or so, I have been positioning myself to be a freelance full-time writer. I'm also a ghostwriter. Again, with the editing, I do that. I have several things on the horizon that I'm so proud of. My passion is screenwriting. So I have 3 screenplays in progress. 2 are dramas and faith-based, and I'm trying my hand at comedy.
Awesome.
All right. And Xavier, hopefully everybody will see them within the next year or 2. I have a couple of books that I do want to publish. One is going to be somewhat of a memoir. And the other one is a book based off of Proverbs 31. I want to share with women that you can still be a diva, fly, dress nice, wear makeup, make people laugh, and still be a woman of God. I think so many women today think they have this preconceived notion that you have to be holier than thou to live a life of Christ, and that's just not. And that's what set me free years ago and gave me the freedom to be who I am and do what I do. So with that said, I'm also a travel agent.
Oh, wow.
Should I plug myself here?
Yes. This is your opportunity.
I am the owner-operator of LiveBelieveTravel.net. That is my travel company. I go under the pen name of Owerri Marrasha. That's my first and middle name. And if anybody would like to reach me, my website is in the works now. But they can reach me via email for ghostwriting. I do coaching sessions. I have editing packages. I can walk you through the entire process from beginning to end.
And
So
are you on Facebook?
yes, I am on Facebook as Owerri Marrasha. I'm also on Twitter as Owerri Marrasha and Instagram as Owerri
Awesome.
Marrasha.
Okay.
And my email address is owerrimarrasha@gmail.com, and that's OWERRIMARRASHA@gmail.com. And also, again, I do work with Myrna for 3G Publishing, but she'll give out that information.
That's right. So, Lori, what's your projects?
Right now, okay, I just finished my book, Love Don't Love Nobody. You might recognize that title from The Spinners. The spin on my book is about an African American couple who has secrets, and when one of them dies, the surviving spouse has to decide whether or not they should tell the secret, and the secret is so intense that it can ruin lives and their business that they started and their children's lives. So, and then you'll find out in the book that everybody has a secret. The children have a secret, the cat has a secret, everybody has a secret. So it's a wonderful book, and I'm looking forward to it being published.
It's good, y'all. It's good, y'all.
It's juicy. It's juicy and scandalous. So that's one of my projects, and I also have a blog, and you can go to my blog. It's lalindaknows.wordpress.com, and you can also find me on Facebook at Lalinda Hernandez on Facebook. So. And I also teach writing classes in the summer. So if you want to get in contact with me, you can do so by contacting me through my email at lolwms1@yahoo.com.
Okay, guys, this is Myrna Gale. I can tell you what my projects are. My projects are every book that comes into my office to be published. And it has been fantastic. It has been fun. I see people come in and they have low self-esteem, but by the time they really see that I'm serious about what I'm offering them and what I'm saying is going to happen for them, it's amazing. That is the most amazing transition ever. And after Owerri edits it and they get it, they're like, okay, this is good. Because their fear is that the editing process is going to take out the soul of their story. And that's not what happens. It is amazing what she can do. Okay? So I say this to all of you, that if you're interested in really just speaking with us and feeling us out and seeing if we can bring you to that place of really accomplishing your publication, please feel free to call us. You can reach us at 888-442-9637. You can email us at info@gpublishinginc.com. You can also check out our website at www.3gpublishinginc.com. And we will embrace you where you are. Don't be afraid. If you haven't written a word and it's all in you and you think you would be better having it transcribed, then record it and we transcribe it for you, and trust me, you will be very happy. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. And we also have a program that we're doing for children. Actually, it starts as young as 6 to 18, and it's a writing program that would be about 15 to 20 hours a week during the summer. And for adults, we work out the classes during the fall, and we embrace you, and you can write your stories. It's fantastic. You come out of there really surprised and really happy. So looking forward to hearing from all of you.
I love it. And Xavier, did you want to share something? Because you're talking.
So, what was your favorite project that you
worked on?
My favorite project that I worked on? I don't know if we can say the name.
I know.
But it was about a book this man was writing about things that happened in his life and that happened in his church, and it was just really interesting because we were like thrown off. It didn't match with who the person we thought was. The book was just different. It was as if his personality of his young teenage years, like a little gangster, was in the book, but yet he was a grown man that was in a very prestigious position. So we were just a little conflicted, but we worked it. But it was exciting.
So can I say another question?
Sure.
When you all say that you all
Speak up a little bit louder because you want to make sure we hear you.
when you say that you learn to read, what you have in mind?
What kinds of things do they like to read?
What
Okay.
you have in mind?
Yeah.
I like love stories. I like stories that start maybe with a little drama in it, but then have this ending that I'm like, oh my God, why did it stop?
Right.
Those are the kind of books. Yes.
I've had that love story just stopped and got to sad ending.
Yes. And then that made you feed on the fact that, well, it shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe if this would have happened, that wouldn't have happened. So you could really write something. Maybe now the person could have wrote something about Romeo and Juliet's family and the effects. But it's I like stories like that. I love stories that kind of have an open ending. Yeah.
You're gonna let her.
Yeah.
You're gonna let her.
Well, I love a variety of different types of stories by different authors because I get a chance to, study their writing and the format and relate to the characters. I'll never forget, probably like a couple of weeks ago, Owerri and I were talking about two different stories. We were talking about The Color Purple, and we were talking about Forrest Gump. And I promise you that we were dissecting both books for hours and hours. We were talking about the characters, the settings, the plot, different themes, and just sharing like different opinions. And it's really surprising that like when we start talking about the book that we saw like different situations and endings and things that could have been added and or taken away. So I would encourage you and everybody that's listening to read a variety of different books from like different authors and different genres.
I really enjoy motivational and inspirational reading. I have so many books that I have yet to get to, but two of the things that I like to do now, like right now, and I had to pull it up, I'm reading The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson, and it is just, it's awesome. And the second thing I like to do is I love to read screenplays. So all these movies that are winning awards, I go back and read the screenplay. Especially when they won Best Screenplay, because that's my craft and I'm constantly trying to hone in on it. So I love reading screenplays from movies of today, past movies. Yes.
Because sometimes like black and white movies, you can relate to a character like and It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey thought that life would be better for everyone if he was never born. But that didn't get anybody.
You are so right.
His brother died because he was never born. And Violet started being a showgirl.
Okay, see, now for those that have not seen the movie, I can't imagine who hasn't, right? But for those, you can't tell the story. You can't tell the movie. Yes. So every year, and every year somebody new is gonna watch that movie and cry like me, and love and fall in love with the character. You can't tell everything. You can't tell everything. So I just have to interrupt. I'm sorry, Xavier. You're on a roll, and y'all are going to take my chair. But you're listening to Entrepreneur Central on the other side. So I'm really, really excited that you are engaged in the conversation. This is definitely a passion, obviously. And I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose my job, or I'm gonna step away from this mic soon. But I wanted to give us a break for just a minute, and then we're gonna come back because I want to talk about one more thing. One more phase is challenges, and not necessarily this challenge of what happened to you along the way, right? Writing a book, editing a book, publishing a book. There are challenges, and there are things that you didn't know before you started, right? Even those that plan, because you're thinking, I planned this out, I knew this, or you've done this before, and you're thinking, okay, I know the steps, I know the processes. But in life, in everything that we do, there's always something that comes and just wreaks havoc on our process, on our plan, on our timeline, what have you. And a lot of times the things that we outside, of course, influences, and it could be internal influences. But I want to talk about those challenges because I think that's another thing as far as fear and what holds people back from going and reaching out, even to a person like you, to come and ask about, okay, how do I get this published? So when we come back, we're going to talk about challenges and how to overcome those challenges. Okay.
Good job.
Wow.
Who knew? I know.
Oh my God.
Charlotte Perry here.
Our next graduation is going to be with him.
I know. This is great, right?
He reminds me of Are You Smarter Than Sixth Grade?
That's
Wow.
That's the biggest one.
People getting ready to go to jobs that don't
Yeah,
like.
that's really
Jobs that are
something that
making them sick.
I
You see,
think
when you're
with
not
that
considering
is
your
that-
goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide.
My biggest
So
challenge
society gets wrapped around becoming a part of a machine. Society, instead of becoming a bunch of individuals that are expressing themselves in unique ways, and everybody sort of borrows and shares and sells this and you sell that, and we all sort of figure out how we can contribute in society. We got sidetracked into these boxes and companies and corporations. We got stuck in these containers and cubicles and offices. We got forced instead of being invested.
We take every right, but you're going to need this.
Fixing cars or doing something where you have passion, you have some sort of a connection to it. Instead of that, you sold your life.
The world knows
No natural behavior. Everybody's wearing clothes they don't want to wear. Everybody's showing up and doing something they don't want to do. They're no connection to it. That's the problem with our society.
A good group of boys and girls who will be walking on the line, hand in hand, following step by step all the rules in the book ever since our parents and teachers have been conditioning us to do what we're told. No society
Yes.
It is a gaze that can restore all societies. If people are wise, they cannot be exploiters. If they are intelligent,
And that's one of the things
they
that
cannot be subjugated.
publishers that
They cannot be forced in a mechanical life.
That you work 8 to whatever the hours a day plus commuting, and then you're like this. And that's your life. That's your real fucking life.
To step outside the bounds of the mental slavery that you're holding on to, that was imposed on you by your parents and teachers, society, and all the institutions at large. They want to keep you mediocre, bland, vanilla, a square person in a square hole. All these posters that the world tells us. It's all over the track. Here comes the track. Now shout, now shout. You're carrying this burden that the world has laid upon you. And it is your responsibility as a maturing individual to slay that dragon. You either bow down and you continue to
I was trying to get there and I was like, hey,
I thought about that, but I was like, let me just get
and by slaying the dragon, you become
yeah.
and I realize you
always say, what do I want? You ain't promised me have placement. And then I say, what do I want? Really? And then what is that?
Yes.
I want all the way back. You're also going to have
That is so interesting. That is really interesting.
I had to pay. And now, when I don't even start from the beginning. I'm like,
That's it. That's it.
People that have found their passion, people that found the things that they love, people that found the things that they can put their lives into. Those people live on.
Yes. Yeah, the details. Do I give too much in the beginning? Do I give, you know, and how do I get them to
So they talk to you and say, we can really raise them out of your book.
On life and on opportunity. So when you
because you can tell it this story, you can tell it that story.
That's it.
It's still a story.
And you know what? And one thing about a story is like there's so many unique ways to start a story. And I think that's where all of our challenge is. It's like, oh my God, where is that first page? You know, that first chapter. Where do they start? To get people to involved in the story, because if they don't read past the first page, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to read the book.
No. So I did that.
this story, the guy said,
I'm with that.
he said, no one knows
This right here?
Marvin or just unknown.
Because I have to do stop.
The next morning, he selected him. After the shot,
You think it is usually
What do you do?
Oh, I'm here. I'm not
Because that's it. You don't understand. If you want to be a published author, you better figure out that it's a full-time job.
It is. Oh, Jesus. And you write all
Don't
the
come up in
time.
here. If you want to play, and just add to the volumes in your wall. I'm not
No,
going to
but you write all the time, write and rewrite. All the time. And then you'll write even after you get the edit.
Yeah, but
And it's like,
just to have it as a graphic, like you put online, just to keep it.
you're never done.
No, that's because
You're never done.
You see, I have found,
Yeah.
I agree with other editors outside of the story. I have found that people, some editors are really bad because they want that story to sound good to them.
Exactly, and everybody has their own
I
voice
hate
because
it.
like they were telling like
hate
Alice
it.
Walker that she shouldn't start off like, remember her book started off with a letter. Didn't it start off with a letter?
Don't let that.
So you have to start off with a book that feels comfortable.
All right, we're back on, guys. Hey, you're listening to Entrepreneur Central on 1065radio.com. I'm your host, Marjorie Waye, and we are already at 1:30. Oh my gosh, we only got 30 more minutes, and we do need to tell you want to connect with us on eCentral411.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all eCentral411.com. We also, on our eCentral 411 page, we have an Authors Corner. And each one of you are going to be in our Authors Corner. We're going to share your information so that when people go out, they can actually find you and connect with you. Now, we are going to share your information again, live, but I want to make sure that we highlight. We're gonna definitely push as much as we can the information, because I think, honestly, this is just the start. We're going to come back because we're going to have to talk about being authors more. It's a large conversation. It's not. It cannot be contained into this 2 hours that we've been talking. It is a lot to it. There's a lot to making your story. published story, right? One of the things when we went to break, I was talking about. I asked the question, challenges, as well as we plan, right? I believe in if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right?
Right.
However, the best plan will not go exactly the way that you think it should go, right? It's like our lives. We're thinking, you know what? I was a kid and I wanted to be an attorney when I was a kid. I wanted to be an attorney. Right? And I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I was on the track. I went to Florida A&M University. I was real happy because I'm going to HBCU and I'm going to get my, I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to, yeah. The funny thing is, the Lord will allow us to go on certain pathways in order to find ourselves and figure out, you know what, Marjorie, you're a black and white person. You do numbers way better than you do the ethereal, what I call ethereal industry of law. It could be this, well, I don't
ambiguous.
Know. It could be very, right? So that turned out to not be my gift, and not the way that the Lord wanted me to do. But I had a plan. Every time I went to my time, I was 26. I was going to have my law degree. I was going to have my law office. I was going to be practiced. What? I was going to be the it. Okay? And that turned out, of course, it didn't go that way, the way that I thought. But it didn't mean I didn't have a plan. Right? And when we write our books, we have plans. And things happen, Cars break down.
Yeah.
We run out of money.
It's really one of the hardest things that I found that I dealt with when I first published, because when I published, I went with a package that was $899, and I was just happy and I could do this, By the time I got my book, my proof, they said, well, the budget now is $5,000 because we have to do this, and this, and this. And I'm like, but I don't remember having that discussion.
Right.
And so, what are you talking about? And so, and I'm like, so which one of my kids or which one of my grandchildren do I sell at this point? But it's funny because my family jumped in and they were troopers about it, and they went ahead and we got what we needed to get. But I'm here to tell you that I think that one of the things that 3G Publishing does have is a tremendous amount of integrity. When you come into my office, I'll tell you what you're getting from A to Z. If you want anything additional, you still know what's the cap on each one of those additional services. So you can, filter that through and think about it, because while we're working on your book to place set it and do all of that, you can add your money up. And if you came with a budget, then you'll know off the rip, oh, this is the max, then, oh, I'm over anyway. This will start my next book. You see, but people lack integrity. I've seen so many self-publishing companies that you give them a check and they tell you you'll have your book in 30 days. How is that possible?
Exactly.
Where is the interaction? People that have come to me that have published in huge self-publishing companies around the country have said to me, I have had 20 people that I've had to talk to before I got my final book. That doesn't happen with us. You get assigned, first of all, your first interview is with me, whether it be by phone or in person. Because as the head of the company, I have to make sure that the staff has the integrity that I have. And so my authors don't have to deal with my staff, ever. If they have an issue, they'll email me, they can call me. I might not call them right back, but I do text them immediately. I address it with the staff, what's going on. We take care of it, and the person ends up happy. There's no greater frustration than you having to talk to 10 different people and tell them the story over and over again. So be mindful of where you go, and know that if they give you this dream picture, no, don't go in there thinking you're going to be a bestseller.
Right.
Don't do that. That's just like such a lie. I mean, the Holy Bible is in almost every house in the world, and it never made the bestseller list. So what does that tell you? Okay, I'm with Jesus, so it's okay. But I do encourage them. I do encourage them. I give them hope. I push them. They leave with an outline. You know, if you came into my office today, I would say, okay, this is what you need to do. Where do you want me to take you? Where do you want to go? And this is what it's going to cost you to the penny. Okay? So be encouraged and know that there are probably other self-publishing companies like ourselves with traditional values, but I wouldn't count on it.
You have one here. Take advantage. And I can assure you from my own personal experience, it is a rarity to find a company that will be honest with you and actually tell you the real about publishing your books. I mean, that's the whole thing. They'll tell you bits and pieces that they want you to know. And then they'll sprinkle in the, you know what? We can work on you being a New York bestseller. We want you to be, that's our goal. Our goal is get you on the New York bestsellers list. Okay, that's great. But did you tell the person that didn't want out? I mean, because everybody's not going to be on the New York bestsellers list.
But the thing is, did you tell them it'll cost you $10,000 to $15,000?
They forgot to tell them.
You know, or did you forget to tell them that you can't buy your own books? You can't buy 5,000 books and think you're getting on the bestseller. It's a deception. No, they count those IPLs. They're keeping those scores out there. People, be honest with these people that are trying to tell their story.
And it's a projection. That's the other thing. The New York bestsellers is not based upon the fact that they sold 100,000 books. It's a projection. Well, I think somebody in some back room is saying, you know what? My statistics say this one's going this way, so I think it's going to get to 100,000. So we're going to go ahead and put on the New York. What I didn't really. You know, so there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. And to find somebody that's honest about that is hard. It's hard.
We do it. We believe it. You know, it's not something that we play with. I think that my conscience couldn't really, for what people pay. I mean, I have people that don't even have jobs that have saved just enough to get that book. And so if I can't help them push it in a way with just that much, then there's no purpose. I'm breaking them. At the end of the day, they're broken. And another thing, please, if you go to a self-publisher that tells you when your book is printed that you should buy 200 copies, no.
Run away.
Run the other way. Because I know a lot of authors who have mildewed books in their garage because they went as far as buying 1,000 copies. They get frustrated. It's not moving fast enough, and then they stop. But I tell you that once I've given we've discussed your demographics. I'll tell you how many people that you reach out to that you're going to give a free copy to. Okay, which should be a minimum of 50 people because you should be trying to reach somebody in every state that falls under your demographics. Okay, and so then I'll say, okay, for right now, start off with 50. If you feel that you want the max, I'll go for it. It's 200. If you feel that way, then okay, go for it. And we do this, but to tell somebody, oh, you need to get 500 because that way you could keep going and keep no, that doesn't work because you get stuck with those books.
So what other challenges? You know, best laid plans, right? You made these great plans. What other challenges? What challenges have you experienced?
Well, one of the challenges of being an author is that you got to expect that you will edit your copy 100 times a week. Okay, because you'll write, rewrite, and then you'll send it to the editor, and the editor is going to send it back with some changes. So you have to be willing to write when you don't feel like writing, and be willing to like just go back to the drawing board if you need to. So I would say like one of my challenges would be editing, and you know just being open and.
Did you plan for it? Did you plan for the editing? When you were writing your book, did you plan for that? Did you incorporate that in your process?
Yes, most definitely. Because again, like when you're writing in a bubble, you're writing in your own head.
Right, sure.
And so you have to be able to turn it over to somebody else to get the gist of what you're writing about. Right. It's almost like a second eye. Right. So, and then like you just have to be willing to go back and listen to what like they're saying. Now, it does not mean that you have to incorporate every suggestion of the editor.
Sure.
Okay. You always have like creative license and so on and so forth. And then there are times when you're gonna have to take a stance. No, I really want my character to be a villain. No, I really don't. No. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But you know, you gotta listen to your heart, and again, you know, just be willing to edit. So sometimes it has something to do with your character dialogue, setting or whatever. But you just have to be prepared to edit. I mean, I don't know anybody who's ever been on the bestseller list who hasn't edited 100 times.
Right.
So you know, that's the reality of writing.
Well, one of the things, the reason I ask is that because I'm finishing up, which is very, very soon, my doctorate, and part of that is I have had to edit that thing 1,000 times.
Yes.
And being in school, you paying for that time, right? And so I'm like, okay, if you give me all the changes at once, I make them all. I get back to you, and then we be done. But it's not. It's a living document, living process.
Yes.
And so in that, I'm like, okay,
And that's it.
I didn't plan for it. That's why I asked, did you plan for the editing process and the extensive nature of editing? Because editing is not a one-time deal. You're not gonna, you did your book, they looked at it, okay, red line, okay, you made those changes, tweaks, you send it back. Oh yeah, I love it. No, they're gonna look at that again and say, okay, well the changes that you made based on my red line, they don't flow. There's no consistency or cohesion in that, it doesn't read well. So let's make some more red line changes. So then they come back to you again, you make those changes, they gotta read it again. And that's that process. And so that's why I asked about the planning in the editing. Because,
if I can say, the thing is too that there's such thing as an overdose of editing. Okay. And I've experienced that with some clients that have hired their own editors.
Okay.
And they come back and they say to me, well, my editor wants to go through it over one more time, and then it's going to be final. And then I say, okay, well, I've waited 3 years for this particular book and just ended it because I said to them, if you don't bring me the book by this time, you're going to pay all over again.
Right.
Because I can't do this.
Right.
And she realized that she said, yes, I was on editing overdose. I was literally, and that's something that you have to be conscious of.
Yes.
Because that's the reason why you may have a novel sitting in your drawer that you edited 1,000 times. It could have been a bestseller. 5 edits. When you did 5 edits on it, it was the bestseller. Because you tend to take the meat. I have seen this.
Yes.
You take the meat out of the story, and then it's like blah. It's like, where is everybody?
There's no voice.
Well, I also think that by the time you've edited 100 times, you want anybody to edit it. Not anybody, but you want somebody else to read it. Like, please read this, because you have lost it. You lost the meat, the characters. You don't even know the characters. Just read it, please. Wait till you read it. Wait till you get back to me. I believe you. I love you.
No, then you tell the editor, just send it to the publisher.
Please. Because after a while, you don't even know it's your book. Please read. Please. Oh, the character's name was what? The story took place when?
Did I write that?
I know. Oh my God. Right. If you would just edit and both our names could be on the book. Please.
So be very careful.
Exactly.
Yes. Don't lose your voice. And don't lose the story and the meat of the basis of the
That's it.
through the editing process.
Yes, that's it.
It's a killer.
Yeah.
That's
My turn?
Yes.
Two things. One of the challenges I had as an editor, when I first started editing, I couldn't believe some of the writing. And I mean, I would look at it and go, are they kidding me? Did they really write this? Or did they really write this way? Oh my God, this person wrote exactly like they talk.
Right.
Which is not good.
A lot of people do.
Which a lot of people do. So, as an editor, that's when I started to realize, as I begin to edit, And that's when I realized my gift of being able to read. I read through it once or twice, and I get their voice. Because sometimes their story needs to be told in their language, if you will.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, you know, that's what I tell my clients, and that was a struggle as an editor. So my struggles as a writer, I put so much into my characters. Before I even start writing, I'll write like a novel just on the character description.
Right.
That's just me.
Right.
And then once I get all my characters down, I write backwards. I go, what do I want the end result to be? And then I go, what horrible things or what good things do I want to happen to them before they even get to that point?
Right.
So I write backwards.
Okay.
And that's just my style.
Yeah.
But what I want to encourage people to do is, if you have a story, just get it out. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Sure.
It doesn't matter that it's 200 pages all over the place. It doesn't matter if it's on, you know, an 8.5 by 11, you know, white sheet, and you have stuff in the corner. Just get it out.
Right.
Because my job as an editor, and even as a ghostwriter, I listen to your story. I make the outline. You know, and I come back to you and I say, this is from our conversation, this is what I got for your story.
Right.
Do you agree with these main topics of your story?
Right.
And they say yay or nay, and then I write the story, and then they'll come back and say, oh, you know, well, on chapter 2, it happened this way. Can you make it this way?
Right.
You know, I don't want people to be afraid to write their book or tell their story. Just write it. It doesn't matter if you don't have the comma in the right place, if your sentences are 1 page long. You know, that doesn't matter, because that's my job to come in there and help you along with the process. And a lot of people don't understand, and this is why I added this to my services. I can coach you. I can coach you through the process from beginning to end. Even if you just have an idea and you haven't written one word.
That's it.
I can talk to you. We can have coaching sessions. We can map out your story before you even begin to write it. A lot of people they go, I have an idea, but I haven't written anything down. It's all up in here. And I'm the same way. Everything is up in here.
It is.
Right.
So I just encourage people to get the book written. Just write down your thoughts and contact an editor. You know, even myself. Exactly.
Yes.
Even myself. I have issues reading my own stuff. So I have to get someone to look at my stuff. So I just encourage people, get that book out. My new tagline is right now. W-R-I-T-E.
Love that.
Right now.
Love that.
Right now or never.
Yes. I love that. That is great. Again, you listen to Entrepreneur Central while we are coming to the end of our show. It's already 1:49. My goodness, time goes by so fast. I want to thank you guys all for showing up on this panel. I'm going to ask you just a second, Xavier. But I want to thank you all for sharing and being so transparent. Because I think in knowing that, as I said from the beginning, if people can relate and see themselves in your stories and what you've been able to share, then they're encouraged and motivated to say, I can do it too. And so that was really what this was all about. Now, as we go forward, we're going to actually reach out to you all again, because we're going to do this again. And from this, because I think we're going to get lots of questions, which we always do, lots of questions about, okay, well, I didn't think about this when you was on the show. I could have chatted, but I didn't think about it. Or I was in the car and I was listening. Any of those things, and that happens. And so what we want to do is 2 things. We're going to definitely share all the information, but then 2, we're also going to plan this again. And we're going to come back, and we may come back in a bigger venue just to give us more space, and in order to have more individuals in there. Because I think the more we see and the more we can share our stories, the better off we all are. Okay? That be all right?
Good.
All right. Yeah, I know I need to get to roll call. I'm about to go. Oh, Xavier, do you want to share your challenge really, really quickly? Because you're going to take over my host chair if I let you. So.
My challenges is that some people at school, they say that like my friends, they say that you cannot do a book because you're this age and but that doesn't stop me.
Amen.
There you go.
That's good.
The more that they say it, it makes me keep on going.
That's there you go.
And sometimes it would feel a little sad and feel a little.
But you're making your haters your motivation.
That's right. There you go. Right. That's right. I was just saying the same thing.
And I learned from what they say.
Right.
That you cannot do it, but I can.
You can.
That's right.
And there's nothing I cannot do.
That's right.
Correct.
That's, you know what? We're gonna close this segment on that because
That's
I
it.
think that's incredibly important, right? So we all need to get out there and just do what we are purposed to do,
Right.
and take everybody else. And don't worry about what anybody else is saying, right?
Don't care what anyone else says. And just get out that box that you're in.
Go ahead now.
Don't take it home.
I know, really.
Think outside,
right?
think outside the school. Think outside the school.
There you go.
Think outside the
I love it.
Think outside.
I love it. So we're gonna get back in. We have roll call to finish to call out our businesses that we are supporting. I thank everybody for coming on today. All right, but we're gonna close out the show. I think I turned it correct. Sorry. We're gonna close out the show with our roll call today. I'm gonna talk about the businesses again. If you're not on roll call, if your business is not on roll call, shame on you. It's free publicity. We talk about your business. We talk about promoting you. We talk about your services, and we call out your name every single week. So if you're not on it, shame, 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 shame. If you want to be on it, then go to eCentral411.com. Go to the contact us page and get on a roll call. Share your information. If we have any questions, we'll contact you. But other than that, we will go ahead and get you on the roll call, and then I'm going to do what I'm about to do in a couple of seconds. The other thing is we have an author's, as I mentioned, we have an author's corner. If you are a writer, or if you're a writer, author, creator of stories, if you want to connect and share your information, then again, reach out to eCentral411.com, contact us page, and we will actually include you on our author's corner. Is it author's corner? The author's corner? I think so. I'm going with author's corner. That's what I'm going with. All right, so roll call. All right, and I'm going to do this quick. I'm not going to run out of time. I'm not doing it today. So 360 Player Experience brings you Entrepreneur Central every week on 1065radio.com. It is a company that is focused on transforming your business. We also have 360 Accounting LLC. It is a back office accounting service that will give you accounting department for 30% at least discount on what your accounting department is today. I guarantee you. Hill Chase LLC is a managing company. They manage both nonprofit and for-profit organizations in order to build sustainable marketing and sustainable organizations. They're based both in Atlanta and in Manhattan, New York. We also have SDW Services. SDW Services provides interior and exterior painting or restoration services for residential and commercial customers. We also have DJ SEV, who is our fearless leader over 1065radio.com. And if you haven't heard the new tagline, you need to go to 1065radio.com. And by the way, we have 2 amazing shows that are coming on this week. One tonight at 10 o'clock and one tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So check us out. We also have Dream Trips Life. If you are trying to figure out how to travel more comfortably, then go to Dream Trips Life. Again, you can link to all of these companies on roll call through eCentral411.com. I'm not going to run out of time. This is our next company on the roll call is Club E Atlanta. Club E is a global networking organization that provides networking for entrepreneurs to larger businesses. They are based in College Park, Georgia. Invest Atlanta is the entrepreneur hub for the City of Atlanta Mayor's Council. They connect large businesses in Atlanta to entrepreneurs who want to build their business. Again, they're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Gianna's Creative Designs. Gianna's focuses on creating beautiful things for your home, office, and they also provide great giving opportunities. They are based in Virginia, because I can't say the city, and they're in Virginia. Connect with the company on eastcentral401.com. We also have Progressive Techniques, whose tagline is developing a better you. You need to connect with Progressive Techniques. They're based in Fayetteville, Georgia, but they do corporate events and training all across Metro Atlanta. DJ Ross Iman, he is the creator of Majestic Sounds International, based here in Atlanta, Georgia, producing beautiful love-based music. Unlimited Love and Life Coaching, they are based here in Atlanta, Georgia, and they do personal and professional relationship coaching. Body by You, they are a team of fitness instructors based in Douglasville, Georgia. You need to see them, connect with them on eastcentral401.com. Amir Event Planning Event Services, they plan everything. If you're going to have a backyard barbecue to a wedding, you need to talk to Amir Planning and Event Services. Our Gyms is an organization based in empowering girls to reach their full potential. They are based in Bremerton, Washington. Total Life Changes provides superior, lasting products that have lasting effect on your consumers' health. They are based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Sunrise Properties of Georgia. They buy houses, so if you're looking to sell your house and it's not in the greatest situation, you need to talk to or connect with Sunrise Properties of Georgia at eastcentral401.com. Proverb Shield. Proverb Shield is a tech sportswear apparatus that you put on, and it's really cool because you can hold your phone and keys and all this other stuff. It's really cool. Based here, it's in Porterdale, Georgia. Giving a Hand Incorporated. Giving a Hand Incorporated is a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk communities with office supplies, medical supplies, food, clothing, and furniture. Giving a Hand Incorporated is based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Lori A. Mans. Lori A. Mans is the creator of Quality Media Consultants Group. You need to connect with Lori A. Mans on your marketing and business optimization. Sheer Illusions Hair Salon that has been over 25 years on Columbia Drive. You need to talk to Shantreese. She's amazing. Trust me. She's in Decatur, Georgia. Natural Herbal Detox Tea. It is a natural herbal product for your life. So you need to connect with Natural Herbal Detox Tea based in Stockbridge, Georgia. Baby Judy Dorjian. She is based in Anchorage, Alaska, and she does a lot of coaching on life and business coaching on Periscope. So you need to connect with Baby Judy Dorjian. She's also on Facebook. Suits with a Purpose. Suits with a Purpose is a nonprofit organization connected with 7 Atlanta metro schools and provides young men with brand name suits for the prom. Nature's Pearl. Stacey Banton, she's based in Jamaica. She does independent natural products. Again, Nature's Pearl. Connect with Nature's Pearl through eastcentral401.com. Adiva's Touch. I know I'm almost done. Adiva's Touch does handsome custom creative events, items and events based in Metro Atlanta. G Mama's Soul Food Kitchen based in Phoenix, Arizona. She is a mobile soul food restaurant. The last one, East Styles Unlimited Beauty and Barber Salon, and they're looking for barbers. If you're looking for, they're over in Sandy Springs, Georgia. That is it for the roll call. If you're not on, shame on you. Get on roll call today. We are Entrepreneur Central. We thank you, and we will talk to you next week.